We're in this video series on dispensationalism, and we're going to talk about the second dispensational period right now, which is conscience. Now that Adam and Eve have sinned, people were living by their conscience. There was no laws to follow. God did not give them a whole list of commands as they left the garden. The only thing they were to do was there was a time appointed every year where they needed to at least come and offer sacrifice. We see that with Cain and Abel in Genesis chapter 4. But right now, man after the fall did not have additional laws or commands to live by, but live by their conscience, which God speaks to man through. So Paul tells us in Romans chapter 2, when Gentiles who do not have the law by nature do the things in the law, these, although not having the law, are a law to themselves, who show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and between themselves their thoughts accusing or else excusing them. So, differently than the Israelites who had the law of God and grew up with it, there are people in the world without any laws, that they don't know what the law of Moses is, never heard of it. However, God has given everybody a conscience. This is something that is not created by us. This is something that God gives to us. We're created with it as we're created in his image, after his likeness. So this gives us some sense of right and wrong. It doesn't matter whether you're one of the finest, and upstanding citizens, or whether you're a criminal of some sort. Everybody has some kind of code or understanding of what is right and wrong. And there are certain things that are acceptable and unacceptable on everybody's level. And that is because God has given us a conscience. Now, it needs to be refined by the truth of the Bible. However, it is there in every man. And the reason that we know that we don't create it ourselves and that we're not the product and development of, a lower animal life is because no animals are developing any consciences. When an animal kills another animal because he needs to eat dinner, he doesn't feel bad for it, for doing that. He has no guilt. That's not something that animals are made to feel or to have that form of conscience and self-consciousness. They're not made in the image of God, which is why my conscience, if I do something wrong, it accuses me, or if I do something right, it excuses me. And that's what Paul is talking about here. So there were people that lived after the time of the garden. There was no laws. Man continued to deteriorate, and there was demonic work as well. So we see the flood coming in Genesis 6 through 9, and then Noah gets off the ark. So during that time, everybody was destroyed except for Noah and his 3 children and their wives. So we all go back to them. So man without any law has the law in their conscience, which God will judge them by. And that's really Paul's issue in Romans 2. So this dispensation ends with the judgment of the worldwide flood. So in the next video, we'll take a look at the third dispensation, and then we'll go from there. So may God richly bless you as you continue to study his word.